For years, if you thought about Chinese business, about tech innovation on a global scale, one name probably came to mind: Jack Ma, the charismatic teacher who became a billionaire, really the face of a whole tech revolution. But then his story took a turn that, well, nobody saw coming. And that's really the big question, isn't it? One minute he's on top of the world, a regular at all the big global forums, and the next, poof, he's just gone. So what on earth happened? To really understand his fall, you first have to understand his absolutely incredible rise.
And this right here, this was peak Jack Ma. He wasn't just some CEO, he was a global ambassador for Chinese entrepreneurship. He was charming, he spoke fantastic English, and he was always at these elite events like the World Economic Forum. You know, sharing stages with presidents and prime ministers. He was the living embodiment of a success story.
And then, just silence. After giving one single, very critical speech in Shanghai, the most recognizable Chinese businessman on the planet just vanished. No interviews, no public appearances, nothing. The change was so abrupt, so jarring, and it kicked off all sorts of speculation around the world.
But to really get a sense of how high he flew and how hard he fell, we've got to go way back. Because long before he was a billionaire, Jack Ma was an expert in one thing: failure.
Yeah, his school days were rough. On his first try at the huge Chinese college entrance exam, you want to guess his math score? It was a 1. One single point out of 120. It actually took him 3 attempts just to get into a local teacher's college. He always aimed high, though. He says he applied to Harvard Business School 10 different times. And yep, you guessed it, they rejected him 10 different times. And the struggle didn't stop there. Even after he finally graduated, the rejections just kept piling up. He applied for over 30 different jobs and was turned down for every single one. We're talking everything from hotel work to a job with the police. The answer was always no. This one might be the most famous story of them all. When KFC first came to a city, he applied for a job. 24 people went for it, 23 got hired. He was the only one they didn't take. I mean, can you even imagine? It's just a wild story of pure grit. But you know what? All that failure was actually the fuel for what came next. One of the greatest business stories of our time. His luck finally turned when he took a trip to the US back in 1995 and discovered this brand new thing called the internet. And from there, things just took off like a rocket. He started a little online directory called China Pages. Just 4 years later, he got 18 of his friends together in his tiny apartment to start a company called Alibaba. Then he launched Taobao to compete with eBay and Alipay to totally change how people paid for things. By 2014, Alibaba's IPO on the New York Stock Exchange was the biggest in history at the time, a staggering $25 billion. But here's the crazy part. He wasn't a tech guy. He openly admitted he knew nothing about coding and had never personally made a single sale. His real genius? It was his vision, his incredible charisma, and his knack for inspiring the people who did have all those technical skills. He was like the ultimate orchestra conductor. Which brings us right back to that fateful day in October 2020. His other company, the financial tech giant Ant Group, was just about to have the biggest IPO in world history. And Jack Ma gets on stage in Shanghai and gives the speech that would change his life and the entire Chinese tech industry forever. These were the words that did it. He got up there and openly slammed China's big state-run banks, saying they operated with a pawn shop mentality that was crushing innovation. In a place like China, that wasn't just a critique, it was seen as a direct challenge to the government's absolute control over the economy. And the response was swift and absolutely brutal. Just days before it was supposed to happen, regulators killed Ant Group's massive IPO. And this wasn't just about Ant. It triggered a massive regulatory crackdown across all of China's tech. And right in the middle of that storm, Jack Ma went completely silent. So, where is he now? Well, after months and months of speculation, he did slowly start to reappear, but he was a completely different person. His new life gives us a really stark glimpse into the new reality for China's tech titans. I mean, just look at the difference here. The powerful executive chairman of Alibaba is now a visiting professor at the University of Tokyo. The global business icon has become a quiet philanthropist and researcher. And this is the big one. His controlling 50+% voting rights in Ant Group slashed all the way down to just 6%. His power was systematically dismantled. So today, his life is a world away from what it once was.
He's mostly stayed out of the public eye, apparently spending a lot of his time in Tokyo. His whole focus has shifted from e-commerce and finance to academic research on things like sustainable agriculture. But here's an interesting little twist. As of early 2024, he once again became Alibaba's largest single shareholder, even without any real control.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? Is Jack Ma's story a cautionary tale about flying too close to the sun? A lesson about the dangerous intersection of business, ambition, and politics? Or is this quiet, academic life just a temporary pause before a new, final chapter is written? I guess that's something only time will tell.